There's a particular kind of restlessness that disguises itself as depth. You feel it on Sunday evenings, scrolling through course catalogs you'll never enroll in, reading the first 3 chapters of books about purpose, saving podcast episodes titled Some Variation of How to Find What You Were Meant to Do. It looks like growth, it feels like seriousness, but somewhere underneath you've started to suspect that the searching itself has become the thing you actually do for a living, and that finding anything would feel strangely like a loss. You've probably told yourself you're still figuring it out, that you haven't met the right person, found the right work, landed in the right city, discovered the right framework. Each new exploration arrives with a quiet hope. Maybe this one explains everything that came before. And each time the hope thins out, you don't conclude that the search itself might be the problem. You conclude that you haven't searched hard enough yet. William James may have been living exactly what you just recognized. He was one of the most rigorous minds of his century, and he spent years circling a question that looked philosophical but functioned personally. Does life have meaning, or do we manufacture it? He read every system available to him. He studied religion, mysticism, physiology, consciousness, the will. He wrote brilliantly about the search, and for long stretches of his early adulthood, he could not get out of bed. The depression was real. So was the sophistication. What he eventually noticed, slowly and with the kind of honesty that cost something, was that his intellectual investigation of meaning had become a way of postponing the moment of choosing one. This is the quiet machinery underneath. When you can't find meaning, the most reasonable explanation feels like the answer is elsewhere, and I haven't reached it yet. But there's another explanation your nervous system keeps offering and your mind keeps declining. The act of searching protects you. As long as you're a person who is still figuring it out, you don't have to be a person who is chosen, and therefore can be wrong, can be small, can be ordinary, can be accountable to one specific life with one specific shape. The search has hidden incentives that nobody will ever ask you to defend. It signals depth. It signals sensitivity. It excuses you from any particular failure because no particular thing was ever fully yours. It gives you something intellectually active to do with the anxiety that would otherwise demand a decision. And in a culture that has quietly elevated the seeker above the finder, you accumulate a kind of social currency simply for remaining in motion. Notice how each disappointment funds the next pursuit. The meditation app didn't deliver, so you try the retreat. The retreat didn't deliver, so you try the certification. The certification didn't deliver, so you go back to school, change careers, leave the relationship, move cities, find a coach, find a new coach, read the book everyone is reading this season. The pattern doesn't read as a pattern from the inside. From the inside, each move feels like the legitimate next step of a serious person taking their life seriously. From the outside, it's a loop. And the loop has a function. It keeps you safe from the vertigo of having chosen. Because that's what's actually underneath. Not the absence of meaning. The presence of too much freedom. If meaning isn't waiting to be discovered like a continent on a map, then meaning is something you make. And making it means closing doors. It means saying, this is the work, even though there are other works. This is the person, even though there are other people. This is the city, the craft, the cause, the life. Every commitment is a small grief for the lives you didn't choose. The search lets you avoid the grief by avoiding the choosing. You see this everywhere now. The career changer in their third pivot, calling it growth. The spiritual rotation through frameworks, each one promising to integrate the last. The high achiever paralyzed by the infinite menu of optimized options. The activist moving seasonally between causes. The serial monogamist convinced the next person will resolve a question that no person can resolve. The financial independent seeker treating spreadsheets as a substitute for asking what the freedom is actually for. The parent outsourcing meaning to rankings and metrics because the rankings at least give a clear answer. None of these people are foolish. Most of them are unusually thoughtful. That's the point. The pattern thrives in thoughtful people because thoughtfulness is its cover. What James eventually arrived at, not as a philosophy but as a way of staying alive, was something quieter than his earlier work. He decided to act as if his choices mattered and to treat that decision itself as the meaning. Not because he had proof, because he noticed that waiting for proof had been killing him. The intensity of engagement with one specific uncertain life turned out to generate the thing he had been trying to find by surveying all possible lives from above. You don't have to call this a breakthrough. It isn't one. It's closer to a recognition. The search you've been performing is not a search for meaning. It's a search for permission. Permission to stop, permission to commit, permission to let one ordinary, unrepeatable life become yours without first being guaranteed to be the right one. No framework is going to issue that permission. No teacher, no book, no next pivot. The permission was never external. That's what makes it so hard to grant. This is the pattern. You have lived inside it long enough to know its shape from the inside. The hope, the framework, the thinning, the next hope. You don't have to break it tonight. You don't have to choose anything yet. You only have to notice that the searching has been doing something for you that you hadn't named, protecting you from the specific weight of a specific life. That weight isn't the problem you've been trying to solve. It's the thing on the other side of being solved. And it's been waiting patiently for you